The U.S. House of Representatives recently passed a budget bill slashing off $430 million in Corporation for Public Broadcasting funding. If the bill makes it through the Senate and onto the President's desk, it could have a huge impact on local public radio and television. KRWG Executive Director Glenn Cerny is disappointed with the partisan vote by Republican House members to cut all government funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
The fact that it's so draconian in its nature, that it's a 100% cut, is what's troubling. That the folks that voted against our funding are somewhat saying, look, there is no legitimate value in what's going on here. And I honestly don't believe any of them truly think that.
Some Republicans, like U.S. House Representative Doug Lamborn from Colorado, say with so many cable channels, the purpose of providing choices for consumers no longer applies. However, Cerny feels public broadcasting still offers something unique and valuable to people.
Number one, we have a tendency to cover news much more thoroughly, and I'm referring to local news as well as national news, than anyone else right now is willing to do it. There's a problem with legitimate journalism in the country. It's dwindling. We're seeing less and less of it, and public media can still do that.
He also believes educational programs on public television are important for children.
KRWG is the largest pre-kindergarten education program being offered free of charge across the entire region.
And he thinks rural public stations will suffer the most if funding is cut.
For the large cities, the impact may not be as great. There is a real concern that some rural stations, not all of us, I think KRWG would survive, but in a very, very, very different manner. But there is a true concern that some of the rural stations, some of the smaller radio and television stations, would quite literally go under.
KRWG stands to lose roughly 40% of its television funding, or $705,000. 25% of its radio funding will also be cut, which is about $150,000.
I don't know of many industries where you can lop off suddenly 40 or 30% of your income and not see some pretty devastating changes take place.
Among the changes public TV and radio stations could see from the cuts are a freeze from purchasing new equipment and even some layoffs.
Layoffs to say that there wouldn't be any or that hasn't been considered would be wrong as well. We've obviously looked at it.
But to prevent that from happening, Cerny and other public broadcasters encourage people to write their senators, even the president. There's also an online movement for viewers, listeners, and supporters to take part in to save public broadcasting.
The 170 million campaign going online and registering with 170 million. We know that 170 million people in the United States use public media every week. That's a very, very large group of people that are going to see a tremendous decrease in the services we can provide if all of the cuts go through.
New Mexico Democratic Senators Tom Udall and Jeff Bingaman both say they're in support of public broadcasting and are against the House's budget proposal. For KRWG, I'm Jared Andersen.